O child of noble family, the Dharmakaya appears as the peaceful deities out of part of the emptiness. Recognize it. The Sambhogakaya appears as the wrathful deities out of part of the luminosity, so recognize it. If at this time, when the 58 blood-drinking deities emerge from within your own brain and appear before you, you know that whatever appears has arisen out of your own radiant insight, you will immediately become a Buddha, inseparable from the blood-drinking deities. O child of noble family, if you do not recognize in this way, you will be afraid of them and escape, and so go on to more suffering. If you do not recognize in this way, you will see all the blood-drinking deities as lords of death, and you will fear them. You will feel terrified and bewildered and faint. Your own projections will turn into demons, and you will wander in samsara. But if you are neither attracted nor afraid, you will not wander in samsara. O child of noble family, the largest body of these peaceful and wrathful deities are like the whole sky. The medium ones are like Mount Meru, and the smallest ones are like 18 of our bodies, one on top of the other. So do not be afraid of them. All phenomena appear as lights and images. By recognizing all these appearances as the natural radiance of your own mind, your own radiance will merge inseparably with the lights and images, and you will become a Buddha. O child, whatever you see, however terrifying it is, recognize it as your own projection. Recognize it as the luminosity, the natural radiance of your own mind. If you recognize in this way, you will become a Buddha at that very moment. There is no doubt. What is called perfect instantaneous enlightenment will arise on the spot. Remember, O child of noble family, if you do not recognize now and are still afraid, all the peaceful deities will appear in the form of Mahakala, and all the wrathful deities will appear in the form of the Dharma King, the Lord of Death, and you will wander in samsara with all your projections turned into demons. O child of noble family, if you do not recognize your own projections, even though you have practiced Dharma for an eon and are learned in all the sutras and tantras, you will not become a Buddha. But if you recognize your projections, with one secret and one word, you will become a Buddha. If you do not recognize your projections, they will appear in the form of the Dharma King, the Lord of Death, in the Bardo of Dharmata, as soon as you are dead. The largest bodies of the Lords of Death fill the whole sky, and the medium ones are like Mount Meru. They will come filling the whole universe. With teeth biting the lower lip, glassy-eyed, their hair tied on top of their heads, with huge bellies and thin necks, holding the records of karma in their hands, shouting, "Strike and kill!" licking up brains, tearing heads from bodies, pulling out internal organs. In this way they will come, filling the whole universe. O child of noble family, when projections appear like this, do not be afraid. You have a mental body of unconscious tendencies, so even if you are killed and cut into pieces, you cannot die. You are really the natural form of emptiness, so there is no need to fear. The Lords of Death, too, arise out of your own radiant mind. They have no solid substance. Emptiness cannot be harmed by emptiness. Be certain that the external peaceful and wrathful deities, the blood-drinking Herukas, the animal-headed deities, the rainbow light, the terrifying forms of the Lords of Death, and so on, have no substantiality. They only arise out of the spontaneous play of your own mind. If you understand this, all fear is naturally liberated, and merging inseparably, you will become a Buddha. If you recognize in this way, they are your yidams. Think with intense longing, they have come to invite me in the dangerous pathway of the Bardo. I take refuge in them. Remember the 3 jewels. Remember your own yidam. Call his name and supplicate him with these words: I am wandering in the Bardo, so be my rescuer. Seize me with compassion, O precious yidam. Call your guru's name and supplicate him: I am wandering in the Bardo, so be my rescuer. With your compassion do not abandon me. Supplicate the blood-drinking deities with longing, and say this inspiration prayer. When through strong unconscious tendencies I wander in samsara, In the luminosity of abandoning all fear, may the blessed ones, peaceful and wrathful, go before me. The wrathful goddesses, queens of space, behind me. Help me to cross the Bardo's dangerous pathway and bring me to the perfect Buddha state. When parted from beloved friends, wandering along, my own projections' empty forms appear. May the Buddhas send out the power of their compassion so that the Bardo's terrors do not come. When the 5 luminous lights of wisdom shine, fearlessly may I recognize myself. When the forms of the peaceful and wrathful ones appear, fearless and confident, may I recognize the Bardo. When I suffer through the power of evil karma, may my yidam clear away all suffering. When the sound of Dharmata roars like 1,000 thunders, may it all become the sound of the 6 syllables. When I follow my karma without a refuge, may the Lord of great compassion be my refuge. When I suffer the karma of unconscious tendencies, may the samadhi of bliss and luminosity arise. May the 5 elements not rise up as enemies. May I see the realms of the 5 Buddhas. Say this inspiration prayer with deep devotion. All fears will disappear, and you will certainly become a Buddha in the Sambhogakaya, so it is very important. Do not be distracted. These words should be repeated 3 or up to 7 times. However great the sins and however bad the remaining karma may be, it is impossible not to be liberated. But if whatever is done for them they do not recognize, then they have to wander in the 3rd Bardo, the Bardo of Becoming. So its showing will be taught in detail below. Most people, whether they were much or little adept in meditation, are very confused by fear during the Bardo of the moment before death, and so they have no means except this liberation through hearing. To those who have meditated a lot, the Bardo of Dharmata comes suddenly when their mind and body separate. Those who have recognized their own mind and become experienced while they were alive are very strong when the luminosity appears during the Bardo of the moment before death. Therefore, practice during life is most important, and those who, while they were alive, have meditated on the visualization and complete practices of the tantric deities are very strong when the peaceful and wrathful visions appear during the Bardo of Dharmata. Therefore, it is extremely important to train the mind thoroughly in this liberation through hearing in the Bardo, especially during one's life. It should be grasped, it should be perfected, it should be read aloud, it should be memorized properly, it should be practiced 3 times a day without fail. The meaning of its words should be made completely clear in the mind. Its words and meaning should not be forgotten, even if 100 murderers were to appear and chase one. Since this is called the Great Liberation through hearing, even people who have committed the 5 deadly sins will certainly be liberated if they only hear it. Therefore it should be read aloud among great crowds and spread afar. Even if it has been heard like this only once and the meaning not understood, in the Bardo state the mind becomes 9 times more clear, so then it will be remembered with not even a single word forgotten. Therefore it should be told to all during their life. It should be read at the bedside of the sick. It should be read beside the bodies of all the dead. It should be spread far and wide. To meet with it is great good fortune. It is hard to meet with except for those who have cleared away their darkness and gathered merit. If one hears it, one is liberated simply by not disbelieving. Therefore it should be greatly cherished. It draws out the essence of all Dharma. The end of the showing of the Bardo of Dharmata, called the Great Liberation through Hearing, the Bardo teaching which liberates just by being heard and seen. Sarva Mangalam. Respectful homage to the deities, gurus, yidams, and dakinis. May they cause liberation in the Bardo. In the Great Liberation through Hearing, the Bardo of Dharmata has been taught above. Now comes the remainder of the Bardo of Becoming. Although the Bardo of Dharmata has been shown many times before this, apart from those who were adept in meditation on Dharma and have good karmic results, because of fear and bad karma, recognition is difficult for those who were not adept or who were very wicked. So from about the 10th day onwards they should be reminded again in these words. O child of noble family, listen well and understand. Hell beings, gods, and the Bardo body are born spontaneously. When the peaceful and wrathful deities appeared in the Bardo of Dharmata, you did not recognize them, so you fainted with fear after 5.5 days. But when you recovered, your consciousness grew clear, and a body like your former one rose up. It is said in the Tantra, with the former and future material body of the Bardo of becoming, complete with all the senses, wandering without obstruction, possessing the power of miracles resulting from karma, seen by the pure eyes of gods with the same nature. Here, former means that you have a body like your former one of flesh and blood because of your memories of it, but it is also radiant and has some marks like a body of the Golden Age. This is the experience of a mental body, so it is called the mental body of the Bardo experience. At this time, if you are going to be born as a god, you will experience the realm of the gods, and whatever you are going to be born as, jealous god, human, animal, hungry ghost, or hell being, you will have that experience. Therefore, former means thinking, for up to 4.5 days, that you have a material body of memories of your former one, and future means that after that you will have experiences of wherever you are going to be born later. So they say former and future. Whatever projections arise at this time, do not follow them or be attracted to them or yearn for them. If you are attracted to them or yearn for them, you will wander in the 6 realms and suffer misery. Although the projections of the Bardo of Dharmata appeared until yesterday, you did not recognize them, so you had to wander here. Now, if you are able to, meditate undistractedly. Rest in the pure, naked mind, luminosity emptiness, which your Guru has shown you, relaxed in a state of non-grasping and non-action. You will attain liberation and not enter a womb. If you cannot recognize, visualize your Yidam or your Guru above your head and feel intense devotion very strongly. This is very important. Again and again, do not be distracted. So one should say. If he recognizes this, he will be liberated and not wander in the 6 realms. But under the influence of bad karma, it is difficult to recognize, so one should say these words. O child of noble family, listen with undistracted mind. Complete with all the senses means that even if you were blind, deaf, lame, and so on when you were alive, now in the Bardo state your eyes see forms, your ears hear sounds, and all your senses are clear and faultless. So it is said, complete with all the senses. This is a sign that you have died and are wandering in the Bardo state, so recognize, remember the instruction. O child of noble family, without obstruction means that as you are a mental body and your mind is separated from its support, you have no material body. So now you can pass back and forth even through Mount Meru, the king of mountains, or anywhere except your mother's womb and the Vajra seat. This is a sign that you are wandering in the Bardo of becoming, so remember your Guru's teaching and supplicate the Lord of great compassion. O child of noble family, possessing the power of miracles resulting from karma means that you now have miraculous powers resulting from the force of karma in accordance with your actions, not those which come from meditation or virtues. You can circle the 4 continents and Mount Meru in an instant and arrive anywhere you want instantaneously as soon as you think of it, or in the time it takes a man to stretch out and draw back his hand. But these various powers are unsuitable. Do not think about them. Now you have the ability to display them without hindrance. You can perform everything you think of, and there is no action you cannot do, so recognize and supplicate your Guru.